Yeah. Oh no.
Even though I've had the two
Vaccine.
vaccinations, I don't want to get sick. You know, it's like I have health insurance. That doesn't mean I want to break my leg. So I was like, but I still wanted to give out candy. So I had a large plastic pumpkin that I've been giving candy out for years with, except last year.
Don't tell me it
Um,
broke.
no, they stole it.
What?
Yeah,
some
well, of course they did.
some random teenagers, but I mean, I got off light because they just stole my plastic pumpkin. I have another one that's slightly smaller that I also use during the holidays, but they also stole decorations out of my multiple neighbors in my areas in my neighborhood. So that was fun. And
Mhm.
here's the thing: these aren't kids from our neighborhood. These are people who apparently, drive around and take their kids through various neighborhoods, or kids who go through various neighborhoods trick or treating, and just some badass people from not from our neighborhood just stealing shit. Um,
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what they do.
AKA the people that don't want to do trick or treating in their hood.
Yeah.
so what else? Oh yes, a relative of mine whose car note title was, well, it's a relative of my deceased stepfather who missed some car payments, and instead of telling people that she was having issues, she just missed those payments. Now, fortunately for her, the title was in my mother's name, but she transferred it over to me for reasons. And so I had to have the car repossessed because this lady missed like 3 payments in a row and didn't tell anyone and tried to mess up my credit. So I had to.
She clearly had to get notified.
I'm like, well, I mean, I talked to her. I sent her a letter. I was like, well, if you had just told somebody that you were going through, because I understand that, last year and this year has been tough for a lot of people financially. So I can understand, just let someone know so people can have an idea of what they need to do. But don't not pay people, because now that it's in my name, that's my credit. The title's in my name, that's my credit. The financial
Yeah.
company is going to come after me. So I had to have it repossessed. I'm not getting my money. Well, I'm not getting the cash value for the car, but oh well. So yeah, this weekend, aside from the Halloween party, has been.
A wreck.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, how was your Halloween, Jewel? Before we get well, spoiler.
Silent night.
Yeah, I didn't do
Nobody
anything.
showed up at all.
No, I mean, the Halloween party was great. I mean, listening to Thriller, um, going around as Samuel L. Jackson calling people motherfucker with
You
my
probably
Jericho
had
wig.
you probably had a lot of fun saying that.
Well, yeah, because that's what I mean, like Sam to an art form. Like when Sam Jackson curses someone.
But
Because I mean, I have relatives who curse like that. Like I
yeah.
have an uncle who curses like that. Like you go to his house, because I remember one time we went to his house for Thanksgiving, and like there's three types
Mm-hmm.
of relatives at a Thanksgiving party. There's the people who are going to act with class. Then there are the people below that who act like
Fools.
fools. Yeah. Then there are the people below that who just show their natural born ass because they have guests. And my uncle's kids, because he got married to another lady and he has stepkids. His stepson is a friggin' alcoholic.
Why am
So
I not surprised?
like like we're sitting down there playing video games because I don't really watch football anymore because of reasons. So we're
Okay.
playing video games, and this kid just and my uncle has good beer in his downstairs refrigerator. He's got like imported beers, IPAs, like good stuff. And this kid's just popping beer after beer after beer. So my uncle comes down to get a beer, and he's like, "Who drink all these beers?" He's looking at me. I'm like, "Man, I don't really drink beer like that." And besides, like I'm drinking a rum and coke. I'm not going to mix that with beer. And he was like, and finally his alcoholic stepson, yeah, I drank them. I'm like, how are you drinking all these damn beers? And the kid is like,
Is he taller as you?
no, he's short, but kid's like 15, 16 years old. Really has no business drinking like that.
Yeah,
Like
that's
if
crazy.
you're 16,
That's crazy.
if you're 16, really, like your dad or uncle might slip you half a beer. Like if it's a bottle, you might grit through a quarter of a bottle and be like, "This is disgusting," ew, and then go do something else. But this kid, I mean,
some people just have they're just born with the
genetics.
with the alcohol tastes a little bit better to them than they do to a normal person.
I mean, I've had beers that taste good, but I mean, I'm more of a pale ale lager type person. I like those. I don't like really hoppy, wort heavy beers. I like lighter, clear beers. But this kid was draining those beers down like they were a competitive.
Like he was a competitive. I was about to say, I thought he was a competitive drinker.
Yeah.
He was just pounding them. I'm like, God, oh.
Did he have some
Kid,
Did he have some leprechaun blood in him? If you know what I mean.
No,
Yeah.
he was. He's black. He's just
Oh.
bad. Just a little alcoholic. Just a little. I mean, the thing that upset me is my uncle's like, "Yeah, you drink my beer." I'm like, man. First of all, look. You can say a lot about my family. In our down home roots were country. My great grandparents were either slaves or just barely getting out of slavery. So if you go further back, they were getting their ass whipped and raped and beaten and forced to work for grits and some thrown out animal parts. But there's one thing you can say: with each successive generation, we've tried to move things up, and I can tell you right now, I am not. I have enough class not to go to someone's house and drink up all their shit. Okay. Even if I was an alcoholic, I wouldn't do that. I'd bring my own shit and drink my own shit at someone's place. I wouldn't go to someone's house and I looked at my uncle. I'm like, man, I mean, like I was genuinely hurt. I was like, I can't believe you would insult me with that.
Yeah, but yeah, well, enough of the banter. We should probably get started. So,
Yeah.
everybody introduce yourselves.
Okay.
Joel, would you like to go first?
Sure. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of all ages. Welcome to Project Console. I am Julia Eli Moonstar.
Mr. Red Fox?
It is I, Mr. Red Fox, owner proprietor of the BS Busters channel, and the person who basically tries and keeps on pushing the BS Busters podcast forward, where we do nothing but bust BS. That's it. I'm here on Project Console. I do not have to be in charge of anything, so I'm gonna sit back.
Alright, well, this is Kanoshi Abominito here to say that PlayStation, that state of play,
it was a fire.
Yeah, it was a state of something, alright. It was a state of something. It was definitely not a
state of poo-poo.
I said it was a state of fire.
State of baby diaper.
It was
filled baby diaper.
See, here's the problem with the state of play. All that stuff they could have announced should have been a press release, and I'm gonna say something that's gonna hurt some feelings, um, but the new Star Ocean that they showed, what the heck was that? Like, I, I, it's like Xenoblade meets Kingdom Hearts meets just I, I thought it didn't look that great, didn't
Yeah,
really
I was
look
about to say
polished.
that.
I was like, this
I
game's
was
gonna come out next year. Hopefully it comes out late next year. Hopefully they got time to polish it because that game did not look very good.
well, I was about to say that that game looked like um that game looked like a how can I put this nicely? When I first saw it, I was like, "Oh, so Monolith Soft is Nintendo let them make a game for the PlayStation?" And I was like, "Oh no, no, this is another Star Ocean game." Star Ocean has been going downhill for a long time. Like Star Ocean, when it jumped to the sixth gen on the PS2, it started going downhill. Um, and every Star Ocean game after that has been pretty lackluster.
Yeah.
Because
It's it's sinking like a rock, isn't it?
well, I mean, the thing is that all the Star Ocean games have really interesting premises, but then they fall apart. It's kind of like remember when you were in school and they were like, okay, write a paper, you can choose any topic you want, right? Or
Oh God,
and,
those
and,
times.
and someone comes up with a really interesting idea, and like people are like, well, come up with your idea, write it, and then like. And someone, you probably had to were in groups, creative writing groups with someone who had a really good idea, an idea that was so good that you could imagine in your head what you would do with that topic. And then when they actually get the paper, you're like, this is underwhelming. You had such a good topic. You could have done some really cool stuff. No, just lazy. So that's what Star Ocean games are like. It's like, oh, this premise is cool. This is a prequel to the entire Star Ocean series where it's like the start of the Federation and people are like traveling to different planets and exploring. And then it just falls into the same tropes that every Star Ocean has where nothing, like, it adds nothing new. There's nothing interesting going on. It just, Star Ocean is stagnant.
Oh yeah. I again, I've never gotten to the series. I've heard from people that have really like Star Ocean that it's gone downhill. It hasn't been very good for. I think it was they put it like it all started on the Xbox 360. I tried the Star Ocean's game for the PS2, but that voice acting was so atrocious. I couldn't take it anymore, and there was no way to change it to Japanese audio. So I was just like, yeah, this ain't for me. Because thing is, I mean, it's like, how can you let voice acting ruin a game? It's just like a lot of RPGs are heavily story driven, and if you don't have very good voice acting, you're not gonna
Well,
really enjoy the story.
I mean, I'll
Is that
say this
right?
much. The the voice acting was very insipid. It was like bad anime dubbing. Was
Yeah.
the voice acting. And that could have been avoided if they had simply given you a Japan with subtitles, a
I was gonna
Japanese with
say
subtitles.
Yeah.
it was that bad. As in,
Yes.
oh no, Godzilla, bad.
No,
Any.
no, not like that. It was just like, okay, you know how like premium voice acting in good animes sounds like, um, like you get invested in the characters' voices.
If
Yeah.
I remember, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I don't know if Kanoshi remembers this, but remember way back in the day when anime started taking off, so all
Oh
of
yeah.
these like cheap knockoff OVAs came out, and you could tell they were cheap because they had the like really bad voiceover dubbing, where you could tell the actors either didn't understand the names or they just didn't they weren't good at voice acting. They couldn't emote through their voice.
I don't really
Oh,
remember.
that was a mess.
I wouldn't say I remember that, but
It was
um,
bad.
yeah. Yeah.
It was bad. It's one of the reasons that even now I'm kind of like I don't really feel comfortable
I
with
remember
certain types of
seeing.
games.
I remember it was a while back. I was watching when I still watched cable TV, and it was. Let's see. on demand, and I was what they had a Yu Yu Hakusho movie, or not? Yeah, Yu Yu Hakusho movie. I mean, I watched it because it was Yu Yu Hakusho, and I really like that show. But they had none of the original voice actors, and it was
which
terrible. The
is
voice
kind of
acting was
weird.
absolute garbage.
Yeah, the Yu Yu Hakusho movie where they didn't have the same voice actors. Or I remember watching the Shadow Skill movie, the reboot that was done in CGI, and I was like, God, how did you mess this up? Yeah,
Yeah.
that type of thing.
I
It's
was
like,
gonna
how'd
make
you mess that up?
I was gonna make the comment. Do you really want to know? Because that could be even worse than they having a bad dub.
Well, I was being facetious when I said, "How did you mess this up?" Because when something is jacked up that bad, I really don't want to know. I would rather not know how they can mess it up so bad. Because like I just
Yeah, because sometimes finding out how it turned out that bad is even worse than knowing that it is bad.
yeah. Because sometimes it's avoidable stuff, but yeah, Star Ocean, like Star Ocean on the PS2. I think it was also on the Xbox, like ported over to, like Star Ocean on the PS2 is the one that should have ended that series, and they should have started a new story. But instead, they did Star Ocean on the PS3 and 360, and that game was, ugh.
Yeah, that was the point of reference. I heard that series just took a nosedive.
Well, it was a prequel, but it was a very very bad prequel. It was like, for real.
Yeah.
Like, if you're gonna do, I have never seen an RPG series do a prequel and not mess up. Even Monolith Soft with Bait and Kato's Origins, which is a prequel to Bait and Kato's, terrible.
I was
Although
gonna
I
Yeah.
think Bandai Namco did that, not Monolith Soft proper.
I think the only one that did a trilogy that was even decent, I think, would probably be Star Wars, and that's a certain degree of
Eh,
okay.
look, we
Well,
only
we're
like
talking
I.
video games.
Yeah. Yeah.
And video game wise, I was just saying, there is no video game RPG series that's done a prequel or that I felt like really did justice to the original game. Like Chrono Cross technically is a like an alternate reality side quest game based on the original game, but it's not as good as the original.
Amen there.
Um, it's hard to capture that magic again.
Yeah.
At least not without some serious help.
No, it doesn't. I mean, it just doesn't happen. I don't think. But yeah, yeah. So Sony announcing it, I'm just like, I don't really. Okay, you're announcing a Final Fantasy game. I mean, Star Ocean game. Like when the last few Star Oceans have been terrible. I mean, they've been really bad.
One of the times that you probably don't want to announce a game.
I
You
mean, I'm
know,
just amazed that they're so bad. That's all I'm saying.
and I mean, it might turn out well. Who's developing this game? Does anybody know?
The same team,
Uh,
Tri-Ace.
oh well,
Yeah,
they might be
Tri-Ace
good.
has been working on it for a while, and it's like you can tell that like
They're
I'm
trying,
guessing.
but they're swinging and missing.
Well, I can tell that they wanna lighten it up because they're stealing from Monolith. That's a good thing, but I mean, it may be too little, too late. If the game comes to PC, which it probably will, I might try it out, but I'm not like all a quiver about it. If you get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
More like you're gonna say that this is just gonna be another mishap, or here we go again. That's my guess.
Yeah.
Well, let's see what else was announced at the PS. There was the Little Devil Inside, which looked interesting if you're into that survival RPG stuff. I'm not. Do like I do like the art style. This
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, there wasn't really much of note there. There was this multiplayer game, which is probably going to be a free to play game. It's like seemed like a cross between Splatoon and No More Heroes, and just really wacky. That was the first game they showed. I don't quite remember the name of it. There's also this racing game. A lot of coming to PS4 and PS5, right? So Sony had this whole uh, campaign talking about how, well, we believe in generations, and they
Sorry.
they they you know um see, there was that one game, Godfall, that they said. I remember when they were pimping that game out, and like, this can only be done on the PS5. It
Yeah.
was only through the power of the PS5 is this game possible. And then
Isn't
it
it
came
coming to
to
the PS4 now?
yeah, and then it came to PS4 like 6 months later. It's just kind
Yeah.
of it's just kind of like, what? And
I mean, I've said this before, and people are going to get mad at me when they hear it, but it bears repeating. All of these ninth gen consoles, PS5, the
Mm.
Xbox Series X, the Switch, I haven't seen one game on any of these three consoles where I'm like, this couldn't have been done on last gen hardware. Not a single one.
and
Mm.
and then sorry. Oh yeah, Ratchet and Clank, right? They were touting that game. Oh, the power of the SSD. It can only be done on the PS5 because of its best in class SSD. Well, it turns out it could run on the PS4 because, the loading screen when Ratchet and Clank are jumping through dimensions,
Uh-huh.
that's obviously a loading screen, disguised as gameplay. Not to mention, some of those dimensions, the geometry is actually pretty simple. There's a video of a guy explaining, going into detail about it. So it could be done on the PS4 if they ever wanted to port it there.
And
Probably won't look as good. So
that's why all these games are coming to, well, all these games are coming to the PS4 because at this point, because of chip shortages, you can't get a PS5, and Sony needs ways of generating income. And there's still a lot of people holding on to their PS4s, some out of necessity, some because they just don't want to spend, all that money.
well,
I can't blame them.
the thing about the PS5, right? Everybody's touting, oh, it sold 13 million consoles. Well, I guess I was watching some stuff earlier this week. I'd have to do more research on it, but I guess their software sales and like their PlayStation Plus users aren't necessarily matching very well with the consoles being sold. So it makes me
Yeah.
wonder if a great deal of that number is the scalpers. How many PS5 are sitting in somebody's basement right now, waiting to be sold
Yeah.
to two to
But
Or
three or four
warehouse
times the
wonder.
price?
or storage space. I wouldn't be surprised. I know some people are going to get mad when they hear that, but I wouldn't be surprised. Or even if some of those are just people who have a PS5, but there's nothing really next gen to play on them.
Yeah, I mean that
Because
could be
let's
the
keep it
case.
real. If someone releases a lot of games, but none of them are really doing anything interesting that makes you say, wow, this couldn't have been done last gen. Because, like, I mean, I know some people might get angry at me, but there's just really not, there's nothing really on any of these next gen consoles that are like,
Uh, uh,
this couldn't have been done last gen. Say what you want to about the PS4 and the and the Xbox One. There was stuff going on those consoles that you couldn't have done last gen. I'm not seeing that on and the Wii U. There was stuff going on those consoles you couldn't do on the previous gen.
Yeah, yeah,
I'm not seeing that on current gen hardware.
yeah, yeah. I mean, you have it's pretty much more of the same, except I mean,
Slightly better graphics.
slightly better graphics, slightly better frame rate, which is debatable, and slightly better resolution, which
Now I'm not saying I'm like flavor of the month guy. Oh man, well this shit ain't new. Sorry, this isn't new, so I can't go with it. I want the new flavor. I'm not that guy.
yeah,
But
Uh-huh.
but um I mean like, and I know this is just me being jaded as a like kind of more of an old school gamer, but remember when the N64 came out and you were like, we couldn't have done this on the on last gen
Okay.
hardware. We couldn't have done this on the SNES. Even the best they could have done on the SNES, you couldn't have done that on the SNES. Same thing with the from the PS1 to the PS2. PS2 was doing things you could not have done on the PS1.
oh
Same
yeah.
thing. I mean, it's like there's nothing being done on these new consoles where I'm like, man, this couldn't have been done on last gen hardware.
Remember on the PS2 and the GameCube, when you had games that ran at 60 FPS, and then
Oh yeah, oh yeah,
and then
oh
we
yeah.
then we went backwards when we went to the 360. Yeah, the resolutions were debatably
All
better.
over the place.
They were
All
they were
over the
set.
place.
Yeah, it was all. It was like they were using tricks and they were upscaling it. It wasn't necessarily native, So yeah, we kind of took a few steps back when we went from the PS2 to the 360 and the PS3. So
Yeah,
I don't
I
know.
mean,
I always find that funny.
I would argue we're still kind of going backwards in a lot of ways with gaming. Like things that companies figured out, like the OG Xbox. A lot of those games were 60 frames per second interpolated. And then the 360 comes around and they went backwards.
Yeah.
Like how are you going backwards, man? Yeah. Like the point of having better technology is that it also enables you to enjoy the old stuff too. You know, like how are you going backwards, bro? But you know, tis what it is.
Yeah. Yeah. It's pretty incredible. I don't and they just don't want to put the development costs and you know, push doing those kind of tricks. They want more powerful hardware, so they don't have to. I
Put
wouldn't say
effort
that.
into anything.
Yeah, the publishers. I would argue it's mainly the publishers don't want to put too much effort because they want to get games out quickly because they can't survive off of one game for 2 or 3 years like Nintendo can.
Or GTA,
Or
or Rockstar with GTA,
Or Rockstar. Yeah,
or Bethesda with Skyrim.
yeah,
They just keep on. Those are rarities, not the exception. Those are the exception, not the rule.
yeah,
You know, if you're EA, like EA makes their money off of annual re-releases of the same thing over and over and over again.
yeah.
Huh.
So, wounds were open this week, and salt was poured into them, and then the knife was twisted. God of War was announced to come to PC 2022 January, and there are people that are illogically mad about the whole thing, and I'm just kind of like, why? why are you why are you so upset about this? A, more people get to play your game, and B, Sony wants to branch out the PlayStation name, make it more of a brand rather than just a platform, like Microsoft is doing. Sony loves to hate Microsoft, and
Microsoft and Nintendo.
Uh-huh.
I'm gonna keep it real. I think that what people need to realize is that Sony likes to make money, and Sony's IPs, like even though Sony fanboys like in their mind they think that because something is popular to a niche audience that it is popular. God of War is popular for the niche audience that it belongs that play even amongst like if you look at the highest selling first party IPs of Sony, God of War is not there.
Yeah.
Like the highest selling first party IP that Sony has is uh, Gran Turismo.
Oh yeah.
So Sony, like the games that people think are so good on Sony and sell so well, they really don't. They really don't sell that well because Sony gamers, you know, not everyone wants to play a game with an angry black guy who's actually playing a white guy just screaming and yelling all the time. Like people don't, you know. I mean, I know I don't, you know. And God of War came out in my generation. That was supposed to be a
So
big deal for people in my age group, but I
so
was like, I don't care.
so here's the top. Here's the top first. Some of the top PlayStation exclusives.
All
Uh,
right.
uh, Marvel Spider-Man, Uncharted 2, Among Thieves, Ghost of Tsushima, Horizon Zero Dawn, Shadow of the Colossus,
This is
Ratchet
for
and
the
Clank.
PS4, and this is for the PS4, the PS5, or is this all time?
I think this is all time because Infamous 2 is here. So,
Okay, so all
and
right.
Gran Turismo 3, a space, and what? How many games is that? One, two, three, four, five, six, seven. Yeah, God of War wasn't. God of War doesn't even crack the top five. So
Well, I mean, I didn't know about those other games. I know a lot of those games were pack-ins for buying Sony systems.
yeah, yeah,
But I know Gran Turismo is their highest-selling first-party IP.
yeah.
Um, Now, part of that is because you know Gran Turismo's been around a long time.
Yeah,
It's got longevity.
I don't ever see that game going to PC, but but I could be wrong.
Gran
So
Turismo? Oh no, no. I don't think that's ever going to go to PC. Mostly because like Gran Turismo is kind of like a console person's version of a racing sim.
yeah,
But there's real racing sims on PC that are better than Gran Turismo. So, there's no audience for that. There's not a lot of God of War games on PC, like games like God of War on PC.
no, no. But yeah, people were hurt. People felt betrayed. It's like, listen, guys, these companies aren't your friends. They're not gonna come to your house, drink a beer with you. The CEOs are not gonna come to your funeral when you die. Like they're out to make money. Like
Man, speak for yourself. My uncle who works at Nintendo totally
yeah.
gonna come to my house. He's gonna let me play Super Mario 64 3, the unreleased game that never came out, the Earthbound that was supposed to come on the N64. He's gonna let me play that.
Yeah,
Man, speak for yourself.
I knew a kid like that. I knew a kid that was like, I got, the special ultra edition of a game that's unreleased, and I got a specially made game for me. It's like, what in the world?
Man, speak for yourself. I'm getting all that stuff. I Look, Nintendo's my friend. They love me. Look, I know that the Switch's online kind of stinks, but I got the special Switch from Nintendo of America where you can play whatever the online on that thing is impeccable.
Yeah,
It works. There's no lost matches. Uh the N64 online is just perfect. Works every time.
yeah.
Now, I don't know about your stuff, but my stuff is tight from my uncle who works at Nintendo. I'm being facetious, folks. In reality, I mean, look, we all know what's going on.
Yeah.
People suffer from a lot of people suffer from comfort branding. where like they get so tied up in stuff like this that it becomes like they get emotionally they take emotional contentment from supporting something that they like, and part of this is weaponized nostalgia. A part of it is just because it just makes them feel good, and I mean, people buy stuff because it makes them feel good.
Yeah. So, Nintendo had a big announcement this week or last week. Um, Probably an announcement that made fans of the series weep. Apparently, they're working with Niantic to make a walking simulator Pikmin game thing. Uh, AR, right? Or what's that when you look at a screen and things happen on the screen?
Augmented reality.
Yeah, augmented reality.
Yep.
It's an augmented reality walking game where essentially you're walking around, Pikmin show up on your device, and you can interact with them, and it keeps track of your steps. And it's just a way to get people to get outside, move around. So I don't know how you guys feel about this. Were you guys saddened? Were you guys like, that's a cool little gimmick?
Um, I'm gonna let Jewel tackle that first. Jewel. Yeah, I guess she doesn't have anything to say. Yeah, I guess it's up to me. If this is if this is the Pikmin game that oh, she dropped. If this is the Pikmin game that if this is the Pikmin game that Shigeru Miyamoto has been working on all these years, uh, this is a sorry, 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 sorry replacement. Because I would have preferred like a more traditional Pikmin game, but I don't think Pikmin really is a big seller. Nintendo at this point is like, we need to make all the money.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know,
Heard
yeah.
that
Again,
before.
I mean, they're just teasing. All these companies don't want to just be a platform. They want to be a brand. They want their name to be everywhere. Whether that
they
be
want an ecosystem.
Yeah, they want an ecosystem of some sort, whether it be on phone, whether it be on um
They want to be everywhere, don't they?
yeah, whether it be on a
Mhm.
phone or whether it be on the computer or
If
whether it be
anything,
on your
I'm not.
toaster or your refrigerator, they want to be everywhere. They want to make sure
That's
you know who they are.
it's kind of funny that I feel indifferent at this point.
I'm going to say something. I know this might be an unpopular opinion, but I'm going to say it. I never really liked Pikmin all that much.
Eh,
Anyway,
yeah.
uh, I know some people are going to be like, but don't you? It's like, here's the thing. I like playing in-depth, deep strategy games, which Pikmin is not. It's a casual, bro strategy game. It's really easy. If you're into
Very.
like hardcore strategy games, which I am. Like I'm a Civilization, Age of Empires type guy. So playing Pikmin, I'm like, oh, this is baby's first strategy
Mhm.
game. So for me, like I just kind of I didn't say anything when it came out. I was like, yeah, I'm happy. I'm happy for people happy about Pikmin, but Pikmin was never like, oh my god, this is like the best strategy game ever. I mean, Pikmin's okay, but it's not like I said. It's not Age of Empires, which
I
is
was
for
gonna say
me.
it's basically a good game, but not something that is AAA as far as I can really think about it.
Well, I'm not even talking about the budget. I'm just saying in terms of the quality of the game. Like, okay, calling Pikmin a core strategy game is like someone saying the calling the strategy segments of ActRaiser a core strategy game. It's not. Don't even pretend.
Yeah.
Mm.
Okay. it's enjoyable for what it is, but it's not like, if you're trying to be really into like core strategy, Pikmin is not for you. It's more casual, and there's nothing wrong with that. Anything that's getting people into like more core games, I'm for. But a lot of Pikmin fans are like, "This is the best." I'm like, "Come on, man, Pikmin's okay."
Yeah.
You know, like not everything Nintendo makes is like gonna be like, "This is the best thing ever." Sometimes it's just gonna be okay.
I was gonna say it's basically specialized stuff.
No, I'm just saying, not everything Nintendo does is gonna be great. Sometimes you're gonna get stuff that's just okay, and Pikmin is just okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that. It's like, like a lot of Nintendo fans think that everything Nintendo does is impeccable, untouchable, it's the best thing ever. And I'm like, nothing is like that. That's like saying that every athlete that plays a certain sport, because they're your favorite athlete, everything they do, they're never going to mess up. Everything they do is perfect. No, they're human. Sometimes they're going to F up. That's life. I'm going to be like that guy, hashtag deal with it. you know, sometimes sometimes your favorite company, your favorite product, it's going to mess up, and you deal with it. You move on. You evaluate what went wrong and hope that they'll learn and not do it again.
Yeah. And I don't know. I guess people were thinking that Nintendo was done with the whole smartphone stuff, but I guess they're still, they obviously still have plans for advertising their name through smartphone apps. Which I don't have a problem with.
Yeah,
It's not
I mean,
something
if
I'm
they're
gonna get in.
keeping,
It's
sorry,
not it's not something I'm gonna get into, like the Mario game and the Mario Kart game and the Fire Emblem stuff. Not something I would particularly get into, but if it gets their name out there a little bit more, then I'm whatever.
yeah, the way I feel about it is if it keeps Pikmin relevant so that more people get into it, I'm good. Because any game that teaches strategy and planning and strategic thinking, I'm okay with. Which Pikmin does do that. It's not like
Yeah.
the most advanced, but it does kind of teach those beginning, logic, critical thinking, logic, planning, and anything that teaches those basic life skills, I'm happy with. I just, what gets on my nerves is when people sit there and like to pretend that, Pikmin is like this masterpiece of gaming because Shigeru Miyamoto made it, and I'm like, that is ignorant as hell.
Hmm.
Because Pikmin, I mean, Shigeru Miyamoto made some great games, but he also made Devil World, which sucks, and Wii Music, which also sucks. Like not everything is, um, not everything is unimpeachable and impeccable and immune from criticism. And not every person who is creatively uh, gifted, not everything they do is going to be great. I mean, some of my favorite directors, some of my favorite Hollywood people, like Steven Bochco, who made NYPD Blue and Hill Street Blues, made a lot of money for Hollywood. He also made Cop Rock, which was terrible. So, I mean, like everyone's going to have their up and down days, is my point, okay? And you just got to kind of deal with it. Sometimes it's going to be good, sometimes it's not going to be so good. There's nothing wrong with it. Creative people take risks. That's why, that's how creative people get ahead, is that they take risks. And sometimes the risk pays off and they make a lot of money, or they make something that's really astounding. And sometimes they make something that's terrible.
Yeah.
um, that's just the way it is sometimes.
Well, speaking of things just being the way they are, unfortunately,
Mm-hmm.
looks like uh, looks like Vicarious Studios got Unicron by Blizzard. So apparently, last week, Wednesday, people that worked at Vicarious Studios woke up one day and said, "Well, you've been absorbed by Blizzard, Activision Blizzard, and you're just Blizzard now. Congratulations! No ceremony, no warning, completely absorbed. Their name, Vicarious Studios, no longer exists. They're just Blizzard now." So, yeah,
Mhm.
that's pretty disrespectful. I wouldn't be surprised if people just decide to just
Well,
up and leave. You know, just
well,
being
Especially
treated like
considering
that.
the stuff that came out about Activision Blizzard.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, I like normally in private industry when you hear about mergers, you know a lot of people are going to get fired in takeovers. But when you hear that it's Activision Blizzard doing this, it's like especially ominous because it's like you're sitting there like, okay, I know these people. I know that I'm probably not going to have a good time working for these people.
yeah,
You know, like I know there's going to be some BS. You know, it's like I remember when I was working in private industry and there was this segment of the company. They're like, well, you know, so and so, the guy who's over that, he's racist. And I was like, yeah, okay. And I took that. I didn't take that with a grain of salt because typically when people tell you that, they aren't just saying that just to say it. You know, they don't throw that around lightly. But another black person was like, "No, I'm going to give him a chance." And then when the dude did some racist stuff to him, he was like, "I can't believe he did that." Like people told you what was going on. Like, why act surprised now? So you know, like Activision Blizzard's done some really foul stuff, and I mean, if I was a programmer, I would be very hesitant to work for them.
I mean, Diablo
Like, I
two,
would be right now looking for another job.
like Diablo. I've heard okay things about the Diablo two remake. I really enjoyed the Tony Hawk remake that they made. That was pretty good. Um, but yeah, they have a pretty long history, and to get treated like that, yeah, I'd be like, well, I'm just gonna turn in my 2 weeks and leave, or
Yeah, I
so
mean, I wouldn't make that. I wouldn't make that jump until I had other jobs. But they're in California. There's like coding is such a valued profession, and there's so many other places that are hiring. I'd rather do that than or do what a lot of these other companies do and go indie. I mean, Microsoft is still acquiring studios. I'd try and get bought up by Microsoft before I'd go to Activision Blizzard.
yeah,
Microsoft
yeah,
is bad, but I mean, at least you'll have a pension and a retirement plan.
yeah. I mean, for the most
which is what
part,
you
they
could,
don't.
what you could say for Activision Blizzard.
I,
Yeah.
I mean, they don't. Microsoft doesn't completely and utterly destroy companies like, say, EA or
Yeah, it's much
Blizzard at
slower with
this point.
Microsoft.
Yeah,
It's much slower. Like you can like Activision and EA, they chew you up and spit you out like a piece of old worn out gum.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, the best that they can do is, like you said, go out, maybe create their own studio, work for other studios.
Yeah.
Um, I'd recommend just leaving California because apparently that's what everybody else is doing. Nintendo left California.
Yeah, but Nintendo left California because of other reasons. Um, Probably because they have too many people fulfilling that role. Probably because they need to hire more programmers so that they can make more viable, more games. I would guess. 'Cause the thing is that Nintendo, most of their like aside from retro, they don't really have like all their studios are in Japan.
Yeah,
Which I mean that can't be good, and Mercury Steam, and that can't be good. Like to have all your studios concentrated, the
In one
vast majority
location.
in one location. Yeah, that can't that's not very smart. Um,
so topic is apparently Man, this is kind of old news, but I found this article that was pretty interesting about, the TPM chip. Apparently, to upgrade to Windows, you need to activate a TPM chip. It stands for Trusted Platform Module, which is a security measure that's implemented on the CPU. Or if it's not implemented on your CPU, you
It's
can
on the
get it.
motherboard.
Yeah, you can get a connector for the motherboard. But if you have an older system that's not supported, simply getting a TPM chip is not enough. And upgrading to Windows 11 is a complete pain. I don't know why you would have to do that. I guess if you own a business, but I know
No,
business. I know businesses that are still using Windows 7 or just upgrading to Windows 10. So
I mean, look how long Windows XP. I guarantee somewhere in the world their business is still using Windows XP.
yeah,
So, yeah, I mean, I heard that there are companies that, I mean, that there are builds of Windows 11 where you don't even need the TPM connection or motherboard or CPU activated. So, I mean, for me, I just think that this is a load of malarkey. I think all this security that Windows keeps on going on and on and on about. I think all of this is just a reason to get people to hook up for Windows 11 so that they can have more people on their service platform so they can continuously charge you for something in perpetuity as long as you use the service.
yeah, yeah,
That's all it is. They're going to say, well, it's for security. It's like, look, if you own a business, they have software that you get for free from the bank to protect your financial stuff. If you have a business account, well, you pay for it through your business account. So, like, why am I getting extra stuff through Microsoft for this? I don't understand that. Um, I think that all of this is just to get people to spend. They just want to get people into their infrastructure. That's all it is.
yeah. And the article, it's where did I find that article? Yeah, I was on PC Gamer, I think.
Mhm.
Yeah, I was on PC Gamer. It was it was an article about the whole TPM chip. Funny thing he said is that he jokingly said that Windows 11 could have just started as a Windows 10 update, but it became so different that they decided to change it to Windows 11. But obviously, it was BS. The whole we don't need Windows 10 is the last operating system we're just gonna use. But another point that he brought up is like we can't keep selling laptops that have Windows 10 on them. We gotta do eventually gotta do something different if we want to keep selling more laptops with Windows 11. So I don't know.
I mean, I guess, but Microsoft's always made their money off of the software, not the hardware.
Yeah, yeah, that doesn't
And
make a lot of
considering that they
sense.
usually got their OS and everything,
Well, I mean, it's just like, okay, if you want a game, you either have to use some form of Linux, and Linux, you have to know some form of coding in order to really use Linux. Even the more friendlier versions of Linux aren't, one for ease of use as Windows is. The problem with Windows is just as time has gone on and Windows has had less and less competition, they just keep on adding more extraneous BS to Windows to make it more bloated. Um, which means it's hard. It uses more system resources. You need more memory. And the thing is like Windows is supposed to be a very easy experience. Like I know if I want to increase the memory for my PC, it's very easy for me to buy some memory and add more memory to my PC. I can do that because I know like how that works. But Joe Blow, your mom, your grandma, your uncle, your aunt, they're not going to know just to open up their PC and do that. And if you have a laptop that doesn't, it's
Yeah,
not
that's
easy
what
to
that's
open up and
allowed.
do that. You can't do that. So I mean, it's just Microsoft has just been really, really they're being really
Invasive.
greedy. Well, they're being greedy because, like I said, the Satya Nadella, his big thing is streaming and the power of the cloud. Um, like that's his push. That's how he's going to make Microsoft a lot of money. And I mean, that's why Windows, Xbox Game Pass is so open because they want to get it on as many devices as they can. And there's nothing wrong business wise with that. But the problem is, you know, what does this mean for, Joe Blow the gamer
Yeah.
and the consumer? It's
Mm-hmm.
this is why Microsoft's all about xCloud, because xCloud now you have to you can choose to not download it, but if they get you with that Windows 11 update, it's going to be included automatically. Like Cortana is automatically included. Like all that extraneous BS that like you might use 30% of your Windows software suite,
Mm-hmm.
but the other 70% is just there. It's Microsoft for you, baby.
Now that we're on Microsoft, apparently Sega and Microsoft are teaming up because Sega needs access to their Azure uh, platform, their cloud platform,
Mm-hmm.
and I guess right now it's codenamed SuperGame. The Sega's next game, this big game that they're planning on doing, is called they're calling it the Super Game. What do you guys think that could be? Do you think it's a gotcha game? Do you think it's a MMO? Do you think it's
I'm I'm guessing it's more of a mobile game, but leaning towards the side of a. So I have a feeling it's going to be something like EA's one of EA's games.
I wonder
I don't think so.
I wonder if it's gonna involve some kind of procedural generated assets since they're utilizing the cloud, since maybe you know different things happen in this world on different days. uh Things change, or things could change rather quickly versus you know something along the lines of, say, No Man's Sky, but maybe more intricate, since it's not just not native hardware doing everything, but you're also utilizing the power of the cloud to do certain things. I don't know. It seems mysterious.
I
It
I
seems
don't think it's
myster-
going to be any of that.
it seems mysterious and complex, but it'll probably just come out simple and kind of stupid, knowing Sega.
Yeah, I mean, personally, I think it's just going to be it's probably going to be some type of freemium type game that they're gonna, have some stuff with, and they're probably gonna, it's probably gonna use Microsoft's cloud based stuff on it. That's about it. Like
Yeah.
I strongly doubt that it's gonna be something ultra creative or mind blowing, because Sega doesn't do that these days.
So Sega forgot how to do that a long time ago.
The last time Sega had a mind blowing game for me was in the sixth gen.
Yeah.
So console gens ago. That's almost 20 years ago. No, over 20 years ago. So like if you're expecting Sega to do something amazing now, you're barking up the wrong tree. Um,
I remember when everybody was like, Sega might be bought by was it Sega might be bought by Microsoft? Wasn't that a big rumor for a while that Microsoft is going to buy
Yeah.
Sega? It's like,
yeah, and then it was EA. Like they might get bought by EA.
yeah, I don't know. I really don't understand. Don't they have a lot of debt? like they would also have to
They
absorb
do.
all of that debt too.
Yeah, and EA is cheap, so no, they're
Yeah, I don't
not
think
gonna.
they're. I think they might. if, sorry, if Sega gets bought, it'll probably just be their assets, like liquidate their assets, like their IPs or whatever. I don't think people are gonna
Probably.
actually take that name.
I mean, no, they'll keep the name because there's nostalgia with Sega, but I mean, like like I said, Sega now is not even the Sega 10 years ago. Like Sega is not what it used to be. Like even Nintendo as they are right now are not what Nintendo was even
Hmm.
10 years ago.
Yeah.
Okay, it's just companies change.
No,
You
yeah,
know,
dude.
there's ups, there's downs, there's peaks, there's valleys. I would be very weirded out if a company was exactly the same now as it was like 20 years ago. Like, what weird voodoo magic are these people doing to stay the same? That would be weird to me.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, with Nintendo, you had Iwata. He passed away, and then somebody
Hmm.
else, slightly different philosophies took over. So
Yeah,
of course, you're gonna have a change.
I mean, I've said this before. There are things that Furukawa is doing where I'm like, yeah, Iwata wouldn't have let that slide. Like that would not have been a Iwata play. Like, first party games not running well on the hardware. No,
Yeah.
Definitely not.
that ain't happening under Iwata. Like under Iwata, the Wii had N64 emulation down pat. It was darn near.
Perfected.
Well, I wouldn't say it was perfected, but the difference was so small that you wouldn't have known that you weren't playing on the original hardware. We went from that level of emulation to some of the sorriest, embarrassingly bad emulation I've seen ever on the Nintendo Switch Online.
Yeah.
Like it's really bad, and and the worst thing is that like on the N64 on the Wii, you were buying these games. Now these are games that you're paying $50 a year for. So actually, they're losing money compared to what you were getting on the on the virtual console. See, this is how stupid the new precedent is. You're charging people $50 a year, and you can't even get the emulation right to make it worth people's while to
Well,
make more over time.
the thing is, I think if Iwata was still alive, he probably would have kept the Wii U around for at least another year before announcing the Switch.
Maybe I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't think so because I mean you have to remember the Switch is was Iwata and Takeda's brainchild between the two of them. Um, they were gonna, they combined the handheld and home console division. But I mean, either way, I just don't like how this like okay, the first 2 years of the Switch, that was like the end of Iwata's planning for the Switch, right? And then the new guy, his ideas came over, and you just saw the amount of games dwindling down. You saw the you saw a lot of issues that should have not been an issue. Like like we know that they went cheap with the Joy Cons. That's why you had the Joy-Con drift. Um, and instead of just eating that and saying, okay, we need to fix this. No, we'll lower the price and that's it. Because remember, when the Joy Cons came out, they were literally like $69
Yeah.
for the pair of Joy Cons.
Yeah, they were
And then they
definitely
I
not
thought it was
cheap.
$80.
Well, it's some ridiculously high number. I mean, either way, that's too much for a device that inherently is faulty.
As I
Um,
said, $80.
and then they lowered the price. Now that's basically them admitting, yeah, this is some cheap BS, and we knew it had these issues, and we're going to lower the price because we can't, in good faith, sell you something that's cheap and falling apart like this.
Yeah.
And they knew it. You know, and I've never seen Nintendo do that before. Like, just release something that is just functionally inherently flawed, and not, we would have gotten that in Iwata. I'm sorry, please understand.
Yeah.
No, we get this arrogant. I don't need to explain anything to anybody. Uh, person. I don't really like that because these are people who are spending their money. Okay, like if you spend $50 for N64 emulation, you expect it to at least to be as good, if not better, than what they had, over 10 years ago on the Wii. How
Yeah.
are you moving backwards, not forwards?
Hmm.
You know, so, but I didn't buy the online, so I don't feel bad about it. But for those people who did, man, feel sorry for y'all. Y'all got shafted. Y'all should complain
Mm.
or just not buy it. That's the really, just don't spend your money on it. Because if people don't buy it and they lose money, because that's the best way to send a message to a company. Don't buy it. They'll get the message real quick.
Yeah.
No. But
Oh, apparently there's apparently Germany unbanned um 007 before uh it was allowed to be unbanned. So people were speculating that 007 either could come to the virtual console or they could remake it. Because there was this rumored there was like this um alpha build of a remake of 007 that was going around. I think it was last year with with like HD graphics and textures that I guess was originally supposed to be for the 360, but something happened and it never got made. But there's like this demo build of
yeah,
it.
I
I don't know.
I remember they did the Wii remake of GoldenEye, and they replaced Pierce Brosnan with Daniel Craig, and I was like, nope,
Yeah.
nope, 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 nope. Like, because I don't like Daniel Craig's James Bond. I don't like Daniel Craig. Uh, I'm not a huge fan of Daniel Craig anyway, but his James Bond is, those James Bond movies are overrated. All right.
Certain James Bond's movies, I can agree with you on that.
No, the Daniel Craig James Bond movies are overrated. Casino Royale is 1/3 of a good movie. The opening is good. The last third of the movie is good, but everything else before that is terrible. Um, and here's the thing. This comes from, like, I like poker. I like poker movies where they're playing cards and stuff like that. I like that. I like gambling movies. That movie made poker boring.
Yeah.
And then Quantum of Solace, which is the sequel to Casino Royale. The only good thing about Quantum of Solace is the car chase in the beginning because it's all practical special effects. Um, After that, like, I've seen Quantum of Solace 3 times. I don't remember what the plot is. I know that the whole point, like, the villain was buying up land in order to get the water right so then he could raise the prices and make even more money. But that's about it. And I'm probably wrong on that plot, but that's what I think I remember. Um, but yeah, and then there's Skyfall, which is legitimately like the best Daniel Craig movie, which should have been the last movie he did.
Yeah.
Because the opening of the movie is Adele singing "This Is the End." I'm like, this would have been the perfect movie to end Daniel Craig's stuff on, because I'm tired of hearing him whine about how he doesn't want to be James Bond anymore. Boo hoo, Daniel Craig. You don't want to play a super spy who sleeps with hot women, drives fast cars, eats great food, drinks awesome cocktails, and shoots people who need to get shot. Oh, that's just so sad. My heart goes out to you, Daniel Craig. And then they did Spectre, which was terrible. Like they wasted Christoph Waltz. How do you waste Christoph Waltz? Well, they did. And now, No Time to Die, which I'm not going to spoil it for you, but tired of Daniel Craig. Tired. Tired of Daniel Craig. Yeah, but they did the James Bond film, the GoldenEye reboot, which basically starred Daniel Craig. And why are you couldn't you at least give people the option to choose which version of James Bond they want to play as? No, gotta play as Daniel Craig. So I just think they're probably going to re-release that game, probably on a physical cartridge. But if they're doing the N64 version, they have to get Nintendo's permission. Yeah.
So what's pretty much it for the topics. Anybody got anything else they'd like to bring out?
I got nothing.
What you guys been watching or playing?
For me, I've been trying. For me, I've been trying to do more Nexamon.
Yeah, what have I been watching? I saw Antlers. It's a horror movie. Friday. It's pretty good. And what have I been playing? I've been playing a lot of SWTOR when I have free time because I'm a Star Wars fan, and you gotta take we don't get great Star Wars games. We get okay to tolerable these days.
Yeah.
And you gotta take okay to tolerable and do the best you can with it.
I was gonna say that I thought that the last three main Star Wars games were unbearable.
And which ones were those?
The Last Jedi, Rise of Skywalker.
Those were the movies. I'm talking about the games.
Oh. So the games, I could say, I think that might be a mixed bag.
Yeah, I mean, the Lego Star Wars games are good, if not basic. Like the last Star Wars game that I played that I really kind of enjoyed was Jedi Fallen Order until the very end, because the end of that game is just bad.
Well, I've been still going through the Ninja Turtles, the 2003 one, and it's mainly been playing Smash.
Let me ask you a question.
Oh.
Sorry.
Hello?
Have you seen the Rat King episode yet?
Not yet.
Oh man, you're gonna love that one.
Yeah, the show still, even as a grown adult, the show still kind of this show still puts a smile on my face as I'm watching it. It's like, man, this was well written. The villains aren't idiot. Yeah, they're not idiotic. Like I was watching where the episode where they're fighting the Shredder and Stockman, and I was like, oh, okay.
Oh yeah, they mess up. And that's what I like about the one from the early 2000s. In both the original show and in that show, they mess up Baxter Stockman. I mean, that poor dude just. I'm like, dang, Baxter.
Right.
I mean, poor Baxter Stockman. He just cannot catch a break.
Well, I mean, I was like, because he was wearing this robot suit, and I was like, man, okay, that was a smartly written oversight versus just like, just some weird dumb thing that the villain forgot to do. But yeah, I was
Yeah,
yeah, I've been enjoying it. So
yeah,
uh,
yeah. Who's your favorite turtle on that show? Because every show has the turtle who has like the best character growth and stuff.
yeah.
And
Uh,
Usually mine's is Donnie.
yeah, a lot of people like Donnie, but in the 2000 show, I have to say that I like in the 2000 show I liked Michelangelo's character arc where he became a better um, ninja.
Fighter Fighter.
Yeah, he became a better fighter, and you realize that he uses his humor. His humor is a coping mechanism for all the dark stuff he and his brothers have to deal with.
yeah, I like Michelangelo because of that, and I also like Donatello because I'm also in the technology, so
Yeah,
he's a big nerd. So um,
If anything, I usually see Michelangelo as the one that is usually either hiding something or he's oblivious. One of
I
those
mean,
two.
his big thing is he's just like he's dealing with teenage anger issues. That's his big thing. And vigilanting without his brothers.
If you want vigilante that is dangerous, I go Raphael.
Sorry, I confused them. Yeah, Raph.
yeah,
Um,
Raphael's the one that has
yeah,
issues.
he goes vigilante. Yeah, Mikey, he's the one who gets to team up with his favorite heroes because it turns out they're real in that universe. He becomes the Shell Titan, if I remember correctly.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
Yeah,
but I think we should give our sign offs and then call it a night.
all right.
Joel, would you
Sure.
like?
Um, this is your Eli Moonstar. Thank you for coming to the project console. If you want, if you want to reach us, there's the following may be available: Twitch, Discord, email, etc.
Yeah, I have a Discord. I don't really have a Twitch set up, but I definitely have a Discord. Well, that's a good way to reach us, and I don't have an email set up for this cast yet. I probably should. I'm probably should do that, but yeah, that's Red Fox. Got anything you like to pimp out? Sign up.
Yeah, I'm going to be putting up a video either tomorrow or the day after tomorrow, maybe later on tonight once it renders, where I'm going to show how insanely brilliant George Lucas used to be. Um,
Hey, George is still good, though. If anything, his time wears things down.
well, I'm gonna illustrate that by uploading a video where he literally in Jabba's palace in Return of the Jedi. In the original trilogy, he had an entire disco song that Jabba and his sycophants were listening to while they were waiting for uh, Luke Skywalker to approach the castle while they're sitting in the bowels of his fortress. Um, and it's a legitimately good disco song written by John Williams. Like it's legitimately good. Um, and it's like in the brilliance of Star Wars, like people like, well, George Lucas is an idea guy, but he built this entire universe with his head because the guy, the blue elephant, everyone's like, yeah, that blue elephant in Jabba's palace who's playing the instrument is the guy who created the song in universe. It's Jazz Rebo. Like like I mean, this dude, ultra creative, did some awesome stuff, and unfortunately hit the cutting room floor. And then when he did the gold edition, he changed awesome disco tune that still pretty much holds up to the Jedi Rock, which sucks. Um, and it just shows how when people can nitpick things to death sometimes, to the detriment of other things. Um, so yeah, I'll be uploading that video probably tomorrow. So that's going to be fun. But yeah, and plus, if I can ever get, if I get KOTOR 1 up and running, I will capture the footage I need in order to do the re-review of it. If I can't, you're just gonna get a re-review of KOTOR 2 because I know that can run on my PC. So yeah, that's all I got to pimp out.
It's Kanoshi Abominito. Working on the Wii U recollection. Again, that'll probably take a couple months. And also,